Guys, I never thought I'd have to make this video. Mages were nerfed today. PvP tuning changes for January 26th. Man. Let's just start from the top. Player versus player. Players now deal 20% less damage to Death Knight, Hunter, and Warlock pets. Before we get to the mage nerfs, I actually think this is probably a good change. Although I don't play Death Knight, Hunter, or Warlock, the pets were probably dying a little bit too fast. That's fine. Totally fine change there. I know a lot of hunters are going to be very happy about this one. As we move further in this video, I am going to talk about what I think mages are going to do after these nerfs. Let's just say that. All right, so in 2v2 arenas, dampening will begin at 20% when both teams have either a tank or a healer. So at the start of the last expansion, or maybe the expansion before that, they made this change. Just a few weeks ago or months ago, they reverted this change because the games were so fast paced. Now they're putting it back in a little bit differently. So it's only 20% when both teams have a tank or a healer, but if only one team has a tank or a healer, then it starts at 0. Maybe it's a fine change. I would have liked to see it just start at 20% across the board, but yeah, this is maybe a completely fine change here. Druid Convoke. The spirits no longer cast Full Moon and Feral Frenzy when engaged in combat with enemy players. This is actually probably pretty good. I think specifically Moonkins pressing Convoke would literally one-shot someone. The Feral Convoke seemed very powerful as well, but the Moonkin Convoke was definitely like, if you got a Convoke off, or even a half of a Convoke, someone who was just dead 100-0, I'm really, really, really happy about this change. I think this was like long overdue. To the mage changes, my friends. This is why you guys clicked on the video. Triune Ward Legendary now provides 50% effective barriers with 65% in PvP situations. All right, so Triune Ward is the legendary that every single high-rated mage uses in Arena currently. Let's talk about why Triune Ward's good. All right, Triune Ward, instead of having just a blazing barrier, you're going to have an ice barrier, a blazing barrier, and a prismatic barrier on you at the same time. So it's good because it gives you a strong barrier, but it's also good because you get the benefits of all three barriers. The slow from ice barrier, the reflect damage, a little bit of damage back from the blazing barrier, and of course, the CC reduction from magic abilities from Prismatic Barrier and reduced magic damage taken from Prismatic Barrier. So all three of those things are what makes Triune Ward so good, okay? So we're gonna be nerfing Triune Ward from 65% to 50%, right? So for each barrier is 50% as effective. So with all three barriers up, you're only gaining about 50% effectiveness in terms of the shield strength, the absorb, the effect. Is Triune Ward still going to be good? That's the question. I get a lot of people tweeting me, messaging me on Instagram DMs saying, yo, Zar, Triune Ward nerfs. What are we going to do? What are we going to play? What's going on? Don't quote me on this. Well, you could quote me on this if you want, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think I'm willing to bet Triune Ward is still going to be the best legendary. Why? Because having 3 buffs to protect your combustion, having the prismatic barrier there to reduce the CC, which is just amazing, and then still having a pretty strong defensive cooldown every, whatever it is, 30 seconds is just too powerful to not have. Now, the other option would be the legendary that gives you critical strike damage on consecutive critical strikes. The name is escaping me currently, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I crafted it already. I have it on my helm. But I really think, even with the Triune Ward nerfs, I really think that Triune Ward is still going to be the best legendary. So am I upset about this? Is this okay, or is this a little overboard? Honestly, even though I'm a mage, and even though I hate to see mage nerfs, I think this is a good change. I do think this is a good change. I think mages are probably a bit too tanky with this. I think this will put them in the right spot. I don't think it was overboard, and I still think Triune Ward's gonna be the best legendary. I actually give this a thumbs up. So far, to be honest, PvP tuning changes. Thumbs up for the pet change. Thumbs up for the dampening change. I need more thumbs, man. Thumbs up for the convoke change. Thumbs up for the Triune Ward change. That's pretty good. I mean, so far, the Blizzard, I'm proud of you, man. We got the next change on the block though. Infernal Cascade increases combustion fire damage, or just combustion damage, reduced by 33% in PvP situations. So right now, you get a stacking buff that goes up to 2 times every time you fire blast during combustion, and it'll go from 12% to about 24% increased damage. This is being nerfed by 33%. So instead of 25% increased damage, we're gonna have a third less, which is gonna be, yeah, math is really hard, but it's gonna be a third less, all right? So that's gonna, what is that, like 8% or something? That's gonna be a little bit less damage on the go, right? That is gonna be less effective combustions. Is this gonna affect gameplay? Yeah, I think in some situations where Fire Mage was previously killing, maybe they won't kill anymore. Maybe you'll have to, you know, force more additional cooldowns and kill and further goes. Is this a good change? Honestly, I think it might be okay. 33 might be a little overboard. Maybe I would have liked to seen 20% in PvP situations, but hey, like, I think it's an okay change. I think it's okay. I don't want to slow down the game too much. People are still going to be getting more stamina week to week. I'm a little nervous that Fire Mage, like if you press combust, it's not going to be as scary, but I think with all the other modifiers in place that we're still going to be okay as is. What does this mean for Mage? Should we be switching specs? Should we be switching legendaries? Should we be switching to Frost, to Arcane? I don't think it's enough to switch to Frost or Arcane. I still think Fire is going to be the best specialization. I still think, in short, almost nothing changes. I think we're going to have a little bit less damage, and I think we're going to be a little less tanky. But you know what? I still think we're going to be pretty tanky, and we're still going to have a pretty insane amount of damage. So I think these changes are pretty slight to where, like, mages were like this, just cruising right at the top. I think we just took like a little dip. We're still here though. All right, we're still crushing it. I think mages are still gonna be okay. Just a quick side note to all of this. I think this is a great way to do changes. Look, the sun just came out. I think it's a great way to do changes, right? Nothing too drastic, but small changes to kind of just feel it out. Like, this isn't too crazy, right? It's not like they completely gutted Infernal Cascade or completely gutted Triune Ward. 33% might be a little much, but it's to the point where, like, I still think Mage as is, that's a lot of is gonna be good, okay? So I was freaking out when everyone was leaking me these changes yesterday. I slept on it, I woke up, it's the next morning, and I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling like mages are gonna make it through this. Mages are gonna be just fine. But to get to the rest of these changes, my closing thoughts, Divine Favor, cooldown increase to 30 was 25, and now cast spell increase by 30 was 60. It's a pretty big nerf to Divine Favor. For Holy Palace, I wonder if there's going to be a better option now, because now it just seems like you're going to get purged, but we'll see, I suppose. And then for Prot and Ret, Word of Glory healing reduced by 20% in PvP situations. This is 2 thumbs up, baby. Let's go. Actually, no, this is 1 thumb up. I think this 20% could have gone up here for Infernal Cascade, and this 33% could have gone down here. Word of Glory healing, if you guys don't play a lot of PvP right now, if a Ret Pally's like 1% and presses Word of Glory, they pretty much go to full. It's like a lay on hands right now. Same thing with Prop Pallies. So reducing that by 20, I mean, you still basically have a lay on hands. That's still pretty insane. I think this could have been like 30%. And like I said, I don't want to go overboard. I don't want to say like, oh, nerf it by 60 or 70%, which it maybe actually does need. But let's go slow. 20% to me just seems like they're still gonna get top from Word of Glory. We'll see how it plays out in a longer game, especially once dampening comes in, right? In like 3v3 situations. Right now though, you have to kill a Ret in a stun lock. If you don't kill a Ret in a stun lock, the Ret will instantly Word of Glory to full HP. And then if you take him all the way back down to 1%, he'll just instantly Word of Glory back to full HP. It's just insane right now. So a 20% nerf to that, like it's definitely the right nerf. Like that's why I got 1 thumbs up. I do think though this could have been easily 33%. And like I said, maybe not too much higher because we don't want to go like crazy overboard, but 20 does seem a little low because this talent was busted. Now that's it. Those are all the changes. So to be honest, I think I like every single change. Now, why am I not like ecstatic about it then? Why am I still a little reserved? The reason being is these changes are good. I like all of them. Even the mage changes, I have to admit, are pretty spot on. What I don't like is that there were no buffs, right? Clearly some specs are underperforming and there were no buffs to Mistweavers. Mistweavers are very underperforming. Restoration Druids, underperforming. What's it called? Demon Hunters, underperforming, right? Maybe Survival Hunters, underperforming. There's a lot of specs that are hurting right now. And there was just no buffs to any of those. So we did skim off the top, but just like in Stoop's video, what he talked about is skimming off the top and nerfing the things that are doing really well does not really solve any problems, because then there's just new stuff that does well. What you really want to do is start buffing all the things that are weak so that every class feels strong and powerful and unique and fun to play, kind of like it was in Mist of Pandaria. So although I completely like kind of agree with pretty much every single change, I might have done the numbers a bit different, but these are good changes, right? Even the mage nerfs I think are good changes, but what I want to see is some buffs to these underperforming specs. And to be honest, one nerf that I would have liked to see is a Ret Pally damage nerf. Their Templar's Verdict is hitting like 12k and their melee attacks are hitting 8 or 9k. Like Ret, like you can die 100 to 0 from a Ret in about 1 second, which is pretty much quicker than you could die to a mage. So I get that mages have a lot of burst, and to nerf that, I think that this is probably a good change. I would have liked to see similar changes also for Ret and maybe for Windwalker. And Convoke did get nerfed, so that is good. But it is kind of like, it feels weird to like nerf Mage Burst, but not nerf some of these other super bursty classes that had just as much or maybe more burst than a Mage. That's maybe like, it feels weird, you know? It's like, why, you know? But like I said, this is a great start. What would I like to see in addition? Buffs to the underperforming classes, the few that we named, and maybe a slight damage nerf to Ret, right? Like I said, Ret and maybe Windwalker. Like I said, nothing overboard, but just small, maybe 10, maybe 20%, 10 or 20. Like, to be honest, I think this 33 might even be too much. Like, just 10% on the Rets or Windwalker, maybe Rising Sun Kick, maybe Templar's Verdict, 10%, nothing crazy, but just slightly tune it down and then buff all the things that are underperforming, like we talked about. And then the one final change is Warrior Intervene. I think Warrior Intervene, even warriors that are high ranked are saying it should be nerfed. So I think Warrior Intervene is definitely too strong of an ability. You kind of just press it and whoever's intervened just can't die. It's crazy. I don't know how to tune Intervene. Maybe the damage gets absorbed after one strike. Maybe the cooldown is increased slightly. Instead of every 30, it's every minute or every 45. There's a couple different ways we could talk about nerfing Warrior Intervene, but that would be like the changes that would be like ideal. Like if Warrior Intervene nerfed, but buff some of the underperforming classes, slightly reduce Ret and Windwalker damage, then this would make a bit more sense. These just seem like some changes. I would like to see a lot more, but to be fair, these changes that are in are pretty good. So I'm happy. It just seems like a list that's not quite complete yet. So we're going to be definitely looking for PvP tuning changes soon here for the next following week. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you did not enjoy the video, give it a thumbs down. Talk to me down below in the comments about what type of content you guys want to see in these upcoming videos. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Yo, real talk on the subscribe button, guys. We're at 121,000 subscribers on YouTube. That is pretty surreal. This last 3 months has been booming for the channel. In the last year, really. I mean, the last year and a half, we've gone from like 50K to 120. That is nuts. So I just want to say thank you guys for smashing that subscribe button and smashing love on every single upload we do here on the channel. Thank you guys for making it all possible. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.